Hey, it's Nate here. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. We're not going to do any overviews. I've been wondering myself. I see a lot of stuff about them. So we got with us a rental ventrac here, 4500 with the tough cut mowing deck on it. And we got a 2638 Mahindra with a brush hog on the back of it. We're going to put these to the test, see which one's faster, which one's more efficient. And we're going to give you guys a visual so that you guys can see the difference. So we're going to be mowing in and around underneath the trees over there with the front end attachment versus the rear attachment, and just have fun and play and see which one's easier and better to use.
At Power Pro, we have the power you need.
As you can see here, the first test would be simulating mowing a field of brush with the tough cut versus a rear toe behind brush hog. As you can see, the ventrac is a little bit faster just because you're not lifting up when you go around the turns, having to reset everything, make sure you're in the straight line right next to where you are mowing. You can just go ahead and turn with the ventrac, use the articulation and the sweeping mode to your advantage. Now, one thing I want to do while you're watching this is ask you to please like and subscribe to this channel, as we're going to be doing more videos like this. So we did our little comparison there in the field. I'm going to have to give that one to the ventrac. Just being able to turn around without picking up and stuff, it just made it so much easier, and it was faster to do it all. Now we're going to put everything to the true test. We're going to be putting the brush hog through this, and we're also going to be putting the tough cut through the ventrac through this. And I'm standing in it just to show you that it's not just a little 3-inch piece of grass that we're going through. We're actually putting these to the test, and we're going to find out which one is better. First, we're going to start off with the tractor, the Mahindra 2638. And what we're going to do is we're going to simulate punching our way into brush. Now, before you keyboard warrior say anything or say that I don't know how to run a tractor, this is just simply to simulate having to push your way in where you don't want to go in loader first because you don't know what's under there or what type of terrain it is. So that's the purpose of this part. As you can see, the way I'm doing that is I'm backing in and putting the brush mower over top of the brush and setting it down and dragging it out. Now I'm going to keep doing that until I have a nice path of where I can fit the tractor in sideways and drive down the edge of the field. Now, I do want to say that in no way are we showing that one brand is better than the other brand. We are just comparing and showing what can be more efficient for you, and we're trying to help you guys out with a visual on that. Each machine that we're using in this video does have its own purpose and will work better where the other one does. The ventrac, it might shine where you have stability issues on the hills, in the wet, you have a small footprint. Now, the tractor here, it is the heaviest tractor in the market, so stability is there. It's a tractor. Now, as you can see, I punched my way through, and I'm going to be driving along the edge of the field. Some of the things that I noticed when I was running it along the edge of the field was if this was a fence row or something, I'd have to have a weed eater with me or another type of tool to help clean the fence. Is with it towing behind the rear, it's harder to control right up against something. The other thing also that I noticed is you do have to go a little bit slower with the tractor than what I was able to with the ventrac, which we will see later in the video. Now here I'm simulating getting underneath of a fence or a fence row or around a tree. Now here I'm going to be in the ventrac. I'm going to approach this the same way that I did with the tractor as far as punching my way into a field. Now what makes this nicer with the ventrac is that the attachment is on the front, so I'm driving into it and cutting at the same time. As you can see, it just goes in and cuts what it needs to. And right there you can see how the articulation of the tractor helps. I don't have to back up as far. I'm not lifting the deck. I can just kind of make a sweeping motion with the front end of the tractor as I'm going into the brush. Now, as you can see, it is taking half the amount of time to where I can drive along the edge. And one thing that I did notice with the ventrac is with the articulation and the mower deck, it's easier to ride a fine edge of where you can cut versus where you can't cut. Like, for an example, a fence or a tree line like this, and you can go in and out underneath of the trees, whatever you need to do. You can see right there how the articulation works of the tires spreading in and out, being able to follow the contour with the mower deck a lot easier than I could with the Mahindra. Now, as I get up here, what you're going to see is I'm going to show you that this mower deck can do a lot more than what it puts off. It is belt driven versus PTO driven, which is a big help as far as if it was a hydrostatic tractor or whatever, you're not using the hydraulic pressure throughout the whole tractor like you would. You're using the belt. With the belt, you're using less of the engine power to control your implement, which is giving you more driving power, which is why the ventracs can go up the hills along the side of the steeper hills, or as you can see here, punching your way into real thick brush. I hit the vines on purpose there, and you can see that the hole that it cut underneath of it, and the motor barely bogged down, and that is just because of the belt drive. As you can see, we got it all mowed up here, and I will say that I'm going to give the tip of the hat to the ventrac here, and the reason being is making an access into the brush with the ventrac was a lot easier. Driving into it, being able to use the articulation and sweeping motion to cut into the brush, where the tractor, you're backing up, you're trying to put it down on the brush. It takes a little bit longer to make the entranceway. Now, this is not a bad product at all. It cut great, but as far as the speed of it, and the one thing I did notice also with the tractor, you're driving over the brush first. Like if you look down here where he was cutting into the field at the beginning of the video, you can see where the tires were. The tires, when you're driving over it, is pushing the material down first, and then the brush hog goes over it. The material stands back up because it didn't get cut because it was laying down. Where over there, the ventrac, it's almost like it was a finish mower just because you're going over it front, everything's standing. The double-edged blades are letting the grass come up a little bit as you're cutting. So I want to say ventrac for speed, efficiency, and quality. Now, each thing has its purpose, and we can help you with figuring out which purpose and which machine would suit your purpose the best at one of our 9 locations that we have to offer.
Power Pro, the power you need.